Check 1 2. Can we hear me now? Okay. So everyone, thanks again for watching me talk to myself. That was always fun. And thank you, everyone. I'll repeat it. And as I said, Pete is doing really good. We've got Chantal deFelice going on tonight, and Phuturo happening as well. He's going to go on second. We've got a mellow set from Chantal and a very upbeat set from Phuturo. We've got some announcements coming up later on, coming out maybe in January or so. And we've got a compilation from a nonprofit called Madra Alliance, started by Clark Harding, Frank Martin, and myself. And that's going to be coming out with about 8 different artists. Most of them have been on Piqued before, which is really fun. So it's a nice, the community has come together to put this nice compilation together. And we'll stay tuned in the upcoming months for when that will be released. It's going to be a vinyl release, and that's coming up very soon. And we've got our show about to start. Looks like now that my mic is working, and perhaps now it's turned up all the way. Let's see if that works a little better. Thank you very much, Rich, my man behind the scenes. Our man behind the scenes, Rich Hogman, of course, on AV. Can't forget that. Of course, I'm Corey Luna, your host tonight and every night, as long as as long as I'm on time, of course, hopefully. And, and we've got. Looks like we're looking ready to go. Now that I've gotten my mic check all set up, got the lights all going. We've got some wonderful things going on over here, and we've got some other shows coming up. Of course, can't forget. Fetz has also got his show going on pretty often. I can't remember the name of it right now. Fetz, please message me. I'll remember to book. I'll remember to say it properly. Sonic Alliance, I believe it is. Always fun. And always check out Frank Martin's show on Saturday mornings, where he interviews a different artist every month, with who's either doing electronic music or video art, which is always really cool. There's just yeah, and that's been really fun. So, let's get on to the show. Let's get into Piqued. Our first set tonight will be Chantal, deFelice. All right. Oh, wow, look at that. Hello, Alex deFelice. Looks like we've got some wonderful people on here. Let's do some shout outs, shall we? John Wells, All That's Gone. Good to see you. Alpha Stare. Hello. And thanks for letting me know that my mic was down and muted. Next Expanse. Always good to see you. Oh my God. He's going to be coming on next month. He's going to be he's going to be showing his modules. That's going to be really cool. We're all looking forward to that. He's also, I think Frank Martin already did a segment with him as well on his modules, which are really, really cool. He's got 2 out right now, an oscillator and a Evan. All right. Momentarily, here we go. Oh, not quite. All right. Bit more shout outs. Hello, Malarkey. Thanks again for letting me know I was muted. Always good to see you. And a few of our people put together a really cool show in an undisclosed area last week, which was really cool. If you got to check that out, it's on YouTube now. I'll send a link on the chat a little later on today. And we've got Reverend and DJ Cherish the Love with a nice block of cheese and a strong arm. I like that. That's nice. Oh, Travarsi, hello Travarsi. Good to see you on here. We're gonna have Travarsi on here pretty soon, which I'm looking forward to. And Allison, Alexa, thank you for tuning in tonight. I hope my buddy Roberto and Saul are watching tonight. This is gonna be a fun show. He and I were talking about it earlier today. El Nasty Butler, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you back. Fix Your Levels. Is that your name? That's great. It's always, yeah, I need to remember to fix my levels. So, and please excuse my attire. I don't have my tie on right now. I just came in from outside. I somehow thought the show hadn't started yet. I was out for a walk with my girlfriend. We're walking around. I always walk with her in the evening time, make sure that she stays safe. And so, we just walk around the wharf area and Pier 39. And I just ran from Pier 39 to my apartment. That was a fun evening jog. I haven't done one of those in a while. Luckily, I had the right shoes for it. That was fun. Electric Kitchen is on. Oh my goodness. And you've got good pizza dough. Oh, send that my way, man. I love good pizza dough. Oh, we're going to be going on in a couple minutes. I wonder if you can all hear me typing. All right, who else do we have on here while we get ready to have Chantal on? Let's see, what else we got?
do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going? But why do we think we know better? What do we know about the universe? And how do we know? Where did the universe come from? And where is it going?
Welcome back to Piqued, everyone. That was Chantal deFelice. That was spectacular. Thank you so much, Chantal.
Oh man.
Hey, how are you?
Whew. I'm good. Hi. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, everybody, for being here and watching.
That was really spectacular to watch. And I noticed that you had some family watching tonight, which is really cool.
I know. I have a ton of family watching, actually. It's
Oh,
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
love
cool.
you guys.
Hey, Juan, how are you doing?
Good. That was awesome. I really liked everything about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
We
you.
really enjoyed that. So before we get into Juan, your set as Phuturo, we're doing a quick little intermission. So let's all say hello real quick, everyone. This is Chantal deFelice and Juan Rosen, who is Phuturo, which we'll be getting into momentarily. And again, I just want to give some props out to Chantal. Thank you again for and Juan. I want to give you both a big thank you for doing Pete on such a short notice. You know, I had other people booked, but they both had to postpone their performances. So luckily I was able to get you guys to say yes, and it looks like we're both ready to go.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So glad to be here. I was so glad to get the call.
Oh, good. Yeah, and you're doing okay in your location. You're safe.
Yeah, I've been in my studio. I feel really lucky to have the space that I have to be able to just dig into creative work during this time, during quarantine. So I've just been staying here and working. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Exploring.
And you've got a website where you've got some art that you sell up there too.
Yeah. So I'm also a painter and do drawings, and I make prints from my work. I sell original paintings. I make earrings like the ones I'm wearing. So yeah, I do all kinds of stuff. And actually, I saw the link to my website, but my Instagram is definitely a better representative of what's going on. So I need to update my website.
Okay. Yeah, and I noticed that on Instagram you had posted it looks like a 30-minute live chat the other day.
Yeah, so every week, my studio is called the Tit Lab. And every week I have been doing, I think it's been over 3 months, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. I've been doing an Instagram live just to talk about what I'm working on. A couple weeks ago, I just painted live for an hour. I try to explain like what I'm working on projects a lot. A big part of my audience is not really has been following me because of the painting. So I really like to bring them into the audio stuff and kind of explain like what I'm doing with the technology. So yeah, every week, Tuesday, 2 p.m. It's called Tea Time at the Tit Lab. So.
Tea Time at the Tit Lab. Okay, that's nice. I like it. And Juan, how are you feeling about tonight? You're coming up real soon.
Yeah, really good. I've been working on some patches, but been changing it up quite a bit and trying out some new stuff, see how it works. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty good. Crammed into the room, not much else to do.
Are you working from home where you're located?
Yeah, actually, this is my office and my studio and crammed up guest room. So it's kind of like my world for 15 hours a day.
Wow.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, I miss going out, miss hanging out, watching everybody else perform. So definitely miss that.
Yeah, it was always fun going out to the Armored Club to see you perform with Frank.
Yeah, that's that's always an awesome show for me and everybody involved. Um, yeah, Frank pretty much started that, and it's always amazing every time we throw in. We get more and more people showing up. It's really good. So
Yeah.
hopefully after all this, we get another one going, and more people can experience it.
Yeah, the FM+1 show was always really unique because you guys always had the modular music going on with a live shibari performance at the same time in the middle of the audience.
Right. Yeah.
Fun environment.
Yeah. So we do that. Then usually towards the end, we kind of, if the other performers are feeling up for it, we kind of all share a clock, and then kind of get into the same tempo. Then we perform, and then if the shibari artists are also up for it, they kind of coordinate with them. So that's always really entertaining because it's it's all improvisation. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Very cool, man. So Juan, are you ready to perform?
Yes, I am. I think I got everything set up. So if you guys are ready, I'll go.
I'm ready. I can't wait to see what you're gonna do with all that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna use about a third of it. It's just like I said, I got stuff stacked all over the place here right now.
Yeah.
I got more shit stacked over there you can't see.
Very cool. All right. Well, take it away, Phuturo.
Thanks.
So cool. My God, that was fun. Thank you, Phuturo. That was so cool.
I said it in the comments one, but it made me want to be on a sweaty dance floor so bad.
Yeah, I think we all could have been dancing to that. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, that was dope.
Well, great.
All right. My audio back.
Yay. Juan, I would say it made me want to be on a sweaty dance floor. Thank you. That was dope.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. Very cool stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's get into some fun technical stuff. Chantal, tell us about your setup tonight. I know we have to do it a little differently for you tonight, but give us a little walkthrough on the audio and visual setup you were doing tonight.
Okay. So I was doing the visuals. I think I saw somebody picked up on that. So I was using just an APC Mini to make some slight adjustments to, I was running all the video through Resolume Arena, and then Ableton and an APC 40. And I just recently, this was my first set with this cute little cheese baby, which I'm really digging, a little chord. So I was able to put samples onto this and do some fun stuff with that. And I had, so I'm on the precipice of getting actual like hardware and synths. So this is my only little buddy that I have so far, but I use some samples from this too, little Gakin analog synth. And let's see, I think that's mostly what I had set up. And then content-wise, can I share about what all the ingredients were?
Yeah. If you're caring to share.
Yeah, so I made some notes because I didn't want to forget what all was in there. But in the video, I used, I think I had like maybe 15 separate clips. I had all the synth modular at the beginning was from NAMM, actually in 2016, a slideshow from photos I took from that. And then like some of the underwater stuff, like there was some anemone, which is actually behind me now, and the eels at the end. That was, I was in Sweden, traveling in Sweden, that was an aquarium. There's some videos of the Apollo launch, and some images from books for like the spacey math kind of stuff, the diagrams. And there was this part that was a hunk of beeswax that I let sit on my porch for a while, and then I burned it with a magnifying glass. I don't know, there was a part that was like real smoky. It kind of looked like there was smoke and fire coming out of me. That was that. Little, fifth grade event. And then, the circular stuff, that was all photos that I've taken through my microscope. That's what, like at the beginning, actually kind of throughout. So those were all microscopic, various things that I find around my studio or in the yard. And yeah, a couple other things, some scuba diver bubbles that were creating texture. So almost all the video stuff is my own clips. I collect a ton for years, and so I have a pretty big library of clips, but I like to drop in some other samples. And then kind of the same idea with the sounds, where most of it was my own samples. I have like stuff from my first trip to Europe. I was feeling nostalgic for traveling and seeing other places. So I have like the piano that was playing at a friend's house over there over breakfast. There's the Charles Bridge in Prague. If you've ever been, it's just like a beautiful soundscape crossing the Charles Bridge, because there's all different kinds of languages being spoken and street musicians. And And then there's some sounds just from the street corner near my studio, and actually a few clips from San Francisco. A street musician in Chinatown. There's like a erhu kind of sound, and some drums. I saw somebody comment about the drums. They were from Dia de los Muertos in the Mission a couple years ago. Some good like street parade. So yeah.
Wow. That's a lot. And I love the notes. It's so great for you to take notes on this. This is beautiful. And how you described the beeswax that you burned on your back porch, that sounded very David Lynch of you.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Total compliment. Yeah, I always think of it more as like 5th grade science experiment. I think that's, yeah.
I think it's fantastic. It's really great. And you've got so much, you throw so much into the visuals, and how you said you were nostalgic, used photos from trips that inspired you, and going to that bridge in Prague. Fantastic stuff. And the sea anemone you've got going on in the background is always beautiful.
Yeah.
You've got so much going on. And thank you again for taking the time to tell us about this process with the music and the visuals. It's really fascinating. And I want to let you know that one of our friends, Malarkey, his children are watching right now, and they are excited. They're really involved on learning about what's going on.
I love that. I actually have a few friends with kids, especially like little daughters around like, between like 5 and 10, who I love to just be an example of a woman making her living doing all different kinds of art, So I reached out to a couple of those friends with kids, like, hey, you gotta check out this set.
Yeah.
I think the kids
my friend Roberto, him and his son Saul are watching right now. And Saul, I think he's 8 now. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong about the age. Sorry about that, Saul, if I got that wrong. But yeah, he loves watching this. This is so cool. I love the fact that we can actually, do what we love, and it's something that can be educational at the same time for people to watch and learn.
I'm all about that. And it actually makes me think one of the goals that I have is I love that natural history museums are having, I've noticed, like, especially in the summer, they'll have like DJ and visual projection kind of Friday nights or something like that. That is something I really hope to do in the future. I love that kind of merging of science, natural history, art, and showing people that you can make more abundant just experiences out of observing nature,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Chantal, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let's talk to Juan for a minute. Juan, again, please walk us through your setup tonight on how you prepared for your set.
Yeah, so I got 2 new hardware things or units, and that kind of drove the majority of what I was doing tonight. The first that I got this about, I'll say 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. It's the Black Corporation's Cersei. It's amazing. It's what I kind of opened with and closed with. I'm still learning it, so it's really interesting. And the second thing that also drove it was also from Black Corporation. You can't really see it, it's over here. It's Decker's Voice module. That I kind of brought that in mid. I was playing a lot of the keys on that with the Reness sequencer. But those 2 are probably the biggest things that I built the whole patch around. And then I have that's driving everything else. I have a whole set of drums modules over here from Tip Top would probably, in my opinion, makes probably the best clones of like the 808 and the 909. All of those. So I use those, and then for the main kick drum, I was using the BIA from Noise Engineering. I could never pronounce it because they always use Latin names in it for all their modules. So I just call it the what? I mean, a lot of people call it the BIA. I call it the BIA.
Yeah, right.
So that, and then I was playing a lot, putting an envelope through a lot of the attack and decay and the fold, and I was switching that up throughout the whole thing. So I was giving a lot of different kick rhythms, and then so that's just the majority of the percussion. And then I have some other oscillators here. DPO, I always use that kind of for more like gritty bass, and I use part of that too. I don't know why I didn't bring. I only brought it in for like a short time. Actually, not a short time, for maybe like maybe about a minute or two. And then another big thing that I was using tonight was the Red Dragon from Hex Inverter, which is like a clone of the Polyvox filter. It always gives interesting sound. Like I never know what I'm gonna get out of it. So sometimes it comes out really good. Sometimes it comes out like a friend of mine described it as nightmare music. Like he's having a nightmare. So I try not to get to that pitch, but sometimes it comes out that way. And then oh man, I totally forgot up until I stopped. I had this sample of some vocals that I've been messing with, and I completely forgot to bring that in. This sucks. It was
Don't knock yourself. It was a wonderful set.
No, thanks. But yeah, it was from for those that don't know, I was also listening to a lot of 90s music lately, and heard one that I hadn't heard in a long time, Luscious Jackson. So I got a bunch of samples from the vocals on that, and yeah, I also use that. But and then what else do I have? That's about. Oh no, and the some of the acid stuff. I got the M303, which is a really good clone of the TB303, and then the Erica Synths bassline. So those two were kind of, I was interchanging that, trying to get some more acidy sounds, but for some reason I didn't tune them correctly, or I started getting more deeper tones than I wanted. And I was trying to correct it, but I was like, screw it, it sounds okay. And yeah, that pretty much drove the majority of it. So yeah, the big things that drove it, or that revolved around the whole performance in that was definitely the Cersei's and the Deckard's voice.
Cool,
and,
man.
I'm kind of like really into Black Corporation's modules right now. I wish I did it because they're really freaking expensive. And yeah, it's like, man, I bought that one on a whim because somebody was selling it to me at a really good price, and I was like, well, okay, I'll buy it. I'm glad I did.
Oh yeah, when you get a good deal on something that's crazy expensive, you just have to bite.
Yeah, I did, and I hadn't heard it like in person, and for such a big purchase, I usually want to test it out first. But I totally I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take it before you change your mind. And yeah, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, Deckard's voice is amazing. There's one of the pieces that if I was better at soldering, I would build one. I know that who is it? A fella in England I follow who does a molten modular. What's his name? Robin.
Yeah,
he built one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know how to solder, but there's no way I could build that from scratch. I would probably completely wreck it. But yeah. So yeah, good thing I just bought a built one. So that's good.
Yeah. Thanks for going down the list, man. That's a lot of modules. and you put it together really well. It was a really fun set.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'd love to know some of the musical influences, whether they be past or contemporary for you guys that have influenced your music over time. And Chantal, would you like to?
Oh man. Yeah. Oh. Actually, I always freeze up when I get this question. So I might need to think for a minute. I listen to a good range of stuff. Okay, wait, Juan, you go first. Let me think.
Oh, sure. Yeah, same thing with yourself, but I think being a teenager in the '90s really inspired a lot of things. Because yeah, up until I think I was like 15. No, up until I was like 16, I think all I was like hearing or listening to was rap music. And then I heard a friend of mine introduced me to the Doors, and then that kind of like opened up a whole new thing for me. And I started listening to other types of music, and then yeah, from there, like I was like a closeted industrial music like aficionado, but all my friends were like, "Hey, what are you listening to that stuff for?" So kind of like I kind of kept that to myself for a long time. So like a lot of like Nine Inch Nails, what was that other band? I think it was Skinny Puppy.
Skinny Puppy's always good.
Yeah, I think those two were really big influences. And then I really got into the rave scene really heavily in LA, and then that just like opened up like everything else. So yeah, I think the big ones early on were like definitely Doors, Nirvana, NWA, which is hip hop, and then like later on, um, yeah, more. I started getting into a lot of like ambient stuff too, um, and yeah, I think those were probably the biggest influences, like early 20s, late teens. Um, but yeah, I listened to all kinds of stuff.
That makes a lot of sense, especially for we mentioned that what influences you in between your like teens and 20s, and I think that really makes a lot of sense to your generation. If you like talk to your parents, they'll probably tell you about the music they listened to when they were young and so on. And I think that's kind of a generational thing of how music inspires people and moves. But when I've got a comment that I agree with you a lot with the industrial stuff because I love industrial music. That's something that's inspired me for years and still does today. Like I love old school Ministry, even though
Yeah.
even though Al Jorgensen like kind of like disassociates himself from his first two albums. I love With Sympathy. I love Twitch. I listen to Twitch all the time. I can't stop listening to it. Really good. And then Frontline Assembly, Skinny Puppy, and there's so many others I just can't. I'm not naming at the moment right now. I love Live Eye. Not everyone does, but it's a really great band from Eastern Europe, like Slovenia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they've been around. They're really cool.
Oh nice. I gotta check them out.
Oh yeah, I'll send you some stuff.
Oh thanks.
Links of where to start. They're fun. They're fun. It's really weird, but great stuff. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, also went into like a whole, I guess, not a phase, I'm still in that phase, I guess, whole experimental phase. I discovered Aphex Twin, and I was like, what is this? And then that opened up a whole other slew of musical that I had no idea existed. So, yeah, that was fun too.
That's actually a great segue because Aphex Twin was one of the first things that really, musical artists that opened my mind to electronic. And actually, I was just thinking while you were saying this, like maybe why I kind of blank on the question about musical influences is that through my teens, 20s, and like even early 30s, I did not think that I would ever make music. I never thought that it was accessible to me. And so I didn't listen. I like hadn't learned to listen. I didn't start learning to listen until I was like 32, 33, right around when I first started hearing Aphex Twin and Otekra and stuff like that. And but yeah, I think that learning to listen component is really heightened in the last years of like trying to make my own music. So yeah, that's making me think. But I did think of, like, I saw my cousin in the chat, Amina, if anybody knows the Icelandic group of sisters, that they use like desk bells, like hotel desk bells, and musical saw and things like that. That's someone I used to listen to a bunch, in Bjork back in the day. So I definitely like the experimental melodic soundscape kind of stuff.
Now, there's a question that came up that I have to ask.
Yes.
Because Malarkey's kid asked, why do you make music?
Okay.
You can go.
Okay. I'll take this one. So kind of a transition from my last comment is that I was a visual artist for a long time, just painting and drawing. And then almost 10 years ago, I was kind of turned on to the idea of making sound to accompany my visual art. And I started getting into Resolume, let's see, like eight or 9 years ago. And it just floored me. Like, so I was doing video for a long time, and dabbling in Ableton a little bit, but I was doing the video projections with other people's music, and I just really wanted it to be my own music, my own sounds. And so that's when, I was slowly learning. And so for me, it's, I think of it as, I want to create, like experience environments. So when I think about sound, I really like it paired with the visuals too. I've even had painting shows, like exhibitions in galleries where I had headphone sets all around the room, so you could look at my paintings and listen to sounds that I had, like mostly field recordings. So yeah, that's a great question, but I think that's where I'm at with that answer right now.
And Juan?
Let's see why I make it. I guess different points in my life. I did it for different reasons, but now it's mainly because I have ideas and visuals in my head that I don't really know how to put them down. So this is probably the best thing I could find to do that, especially now with all the modular stuff. I got into modular maybe like 8 years ago. And I started off small with all the Dofer stuff, and then I sold it, and then I moved to the Bay, and then I got right back into it. It's that's pretty much why I make it today. Just to get a bunch of ideas that get stuck in my head, and just to put it out, and it makes me feel good. It's very therapeutic.
That's a great point, Juan. That it's therapeutic. It makes you feel good to create music, even if you're not putting it out for people to listen to. Just being in your own home or studio, playing music, performing it, really is therapeutic. It really makes it really evens you out and puts you in a trance sometimes.
Yeah.
You can I think we can all agree, have had those experiences where we've just been jamming at home alone, not really sure. As I was trying to say, we'll just get into those trances where we're playing something and we're just so into that music that we're creating. It's just that wonderful experience that is really wonderful to experience by yourself.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And one you also mentioned the whole modular thing of, there's how the trend is kind of like was small when it first started out and has grown exponentially. And there's so many different companies out putting out different modules, whether they be analog or digital, and there's different ideas constantly happening. And of course, there's some companies have a bigger following than others with the ideas that are coming out of them, which really kind of sets the trend of popularity with some of them, but also it shows with not so much the popularity, but rather the flexibility with those modules. Say if you went for like something from like Make Noise or Mutable Instruments, you're gonna find sounds that you can't make anywhere else with those types of companies. These people have imagined ideas to put into a module that you won't be able to find anywhere else. And one of the other beauties of modular is to be able to put all these sounds, all these different types of VCOs, VCAs, and filters from different companies, and create your own sound, which is unique to yourself, which is, to me, the most beautiful thing about modular in itself.
Yeah, I think you hit that right on the head. It's super expressive, and you can find a module that, I mean, if you're thinking about it, there's probably one out there for it, that's that particular sound, which is pretty great. Yeah, I can't believe how many people are making modules now, which is awesome. Because yeah, early on it was just a handful of companies,
Right.
And they were good, but now it's really expanded, and I'm glad it is that more people are approaching it. So people can start making, or not start, but continue making more and more crazy modules.
Oh yeah, I love crazy modules. Like there's this company, I can never remember their name. It's out of England. It's like X1 something. I can never remember what he is, but basically I've got this one module for him, which is called Nil, and it's just a CV microphone input, and it just got a gain on it. So, I've put up a couple of videos on YouTube where you see me holding the CV microphone in front of my face, talking like a trucker into my Euro system. I usually throw it into like an echo or some type of delay, and throw it into something else, and it's just so much fun to play around with. It's one of those great things you can plug into almost anything that can take an audio signal, and you're going to get something different every time.
Oh man, I haven't heard of that one. That one sounds pretty awesome.
It's pretty fun. And Chantal, I'd like to know a little bit more about so you showed us the equipment you have that you performed with tonight. Is there any particular pieces of equipment that have inspired you over time that you've come back to, or that you've maybe evolved from?
Well, so I definitely, I used to, hopefully it will come back. I used to go to NAMM every year for the last like 7 or 8 years, and that's how I first found modular. I did some paintings that were in a national ad campaign for SKB cases, and that just kind of happened through a friend. So they gave me NAMM passes. I'd never heard of it, and I went, and I was just like, what is this place? Just musical instruments everywhere, total cacophony of sounds. But that's where I found modular for the first time, and every year since, I would go 2 or 3 days in a row and only visit the modular booths. And I was just kind of like, I felt like a little bit like the first year I was really intimidated and I didn't touch anything. And then after that, I basically felt like it was like a workshop. I like thought of it as my own my annual learning workshop. Oh no, Juan. And so I would go and just play with everything and ask questions. And so I have my heart set on talking about gear. I have my heart set on, you know, beginning with modular as soon as I can afford it. That's where like I have my sights. I have a couple things that I'm like, okay, I love Pittsburgh modular life forms as a starter set, yeah, and I've been looking at like the Mother 32 as a possible. So I've been thinking about things like that as a starting point, but I love the idea of like Euro rack and being able to switch out modules. And I've loved learning through the community about how common it is for people to buy modules, try them out, sell them, get new ones in, you know, and kind of keep it fresh. So yeah, so that's where I'm hoping to go with gear and get more hardware. But you know, I'm stoked. I'm learning a ton from what I have right now. So
excellent, and I think that's a great way to look at it. And as someone who's gotten into it myself, I would recommend, which I sounds like you are, but remember to take your time and do research. Look at the websites. Look at any reviews and forums. Always go on Muff Wiggler to see what they're talking about.
I'm over here taking notes all the time. I'm showing up to events. Just like, go on. And also, I wanted to say, Jono Wells, shout out, introduced me to VCV Rack as a way to. Yeah, so I'm super psyched. I just downloaded it like a week ago and have just started messing with it. But I feel like that's a fabulous way for me to learn.
And Chantal, if you're interested, if you look back at previous episodes of Piqued, you'll find an episode we did last summer, I think, where we got to do a panel with the creator of VCV Rack. I got to help present him to a group at a supply frame last year for HDDG, and that was a really fun thing where he just talked for like an hour and a half, and then afterwards there was a fella who came on and did a set for like half an hour on all VCV Rack. And,
no way, sick.
Oh yeah, it was really fun.
Cool.
So yeah, if you go through past episodes, you'll find it. It was really cool and very educational, and it's totally amazing. And that's really, yeah, you're right. That's the best place to go if you want to learn more about Eurorack before you start buying anything. Check out VCV Rack. It's really fun stuff. And then eventually get onto modulargrid.net, and that'll help you put together cases with modules and pricing, and also tell you more about the power consumption, that power that every module has that you might have available on Modular Grid, and also the power cases available to experiment with virtually, which is again, a really wonderful tool to use before you buy anything. And again, and of course, like doing the buy sell trade thing with Eurorack is, I agree, 100%. Do it. Reverb is a great resource for it all, because we all try to put out a better price than the retail price, and it's a great resource. You're already talking to some wonderful people who who are into it very much, and everyone who's on the chat right here, we're all part of a community of electronic musicians who are into Eurorack and beyond, and love to help each other out and try to troubleshoot problems and things like that. There's some really brilliant people that I've met through this community that have really helped me out. That's been really wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. I found that everyone has just been like here's what, oh, you want to learn? Like, here's what I know. Here's what you might be into. And it's so beautiful. I just love being involved. And that's one thing I have to say, you know, I've been watching different shows that comment about this, but this this beautiful part about the last 8 months, or however long it's been, is this community in particular with, you know, modular and synths have really been able to like communicate more and have more streaming events and more chats, and I feel so lucky to have found, actually through Frequency Shift, through Travarsi, like I met Travarsi at the last NAMM in January. I'm so glad, just in time.
Wow.
And she was like, with noise engineering, they were like, listen, we're trying to, you know, support women and non-binary people who want to get into this and who need the extra support to feel comfortable to come into the community. And so they held the Frequency Shift event. I was part of that and just met a ton of people through that. And there's actually another event. I don't know if I'm in it yet. I haven't heard the who made it. They just put a call for entries yesterday. But there's a Frequency Shift event for women and non-binary performers on December 19th through SoCal Synth Society. But definitely, if y'all in the chat haven't heard of it, the last series was so good. So many good performers. So I just have to say thank you to Travarsi for helping bring me in, you know? So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And she will be on the show next year too. She's gonna be on next year.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm really excited about. And I just I haven't met her in person, but I just met her virtually through last month. Travarsi was did a performance for Synth Booth, and I got to check out all the sets and all that fun stuff. And Travarsi did a fantastic set, and I was really, and I checked out all the panels I could to listen on to, and there was some really wonderful people on there, and I tried to reach out to everybody I could, because I try to network as much as I can wherever I go, and that was one of the wonderful things that Synth Booth was able to provide, was this platform of people that had all types of ideas and knowledge that I don't, and I'm always happy to learn more and try to support everybody I can. Yeah. And actually, Chantal, to switch gears just for a sec, I want to go back to how you described your process of how you were a visual artist that eventually got into music. And I resonate with that, because I've always been a visual artist, and I got into music. I started playing music about 20 years ago, but I was a visual artist, you know, from the beginning. I as soon as I could pick up a pencil, I was drawing. My mom encouraged it, and I was an artist, you know, entirely. And I always got into everything I could get my hands on. Clay was a great tool, of course. That was it was a wonderful thing, and sculpture became a beautiful thing to me as well. And painting eventually came along, and that was probably maybe one of my harder struggles, just because I'm not a strong painter. But illustration is one of the most wonderful things I've ever done, and getting into music and was really fun as well. And it really did make. I don't think I really became a great artist in music until I started playing synthesizers. Starting out with guitars, bass, fun stuff, of course. But I think synthesizers is something that I was able to express myself more as an artist in, and not to take away from guitar and bass and those wonderful elements. Those are great too. But I think that I felt more passionate about playing synthesizers and the whole idea of the electronics that go into it, and the imagination that went into creating a circuit board and everything that you can do with it.
Yeah.
The imagination is limitless depending on what you want to accomplish with it.
Yeah, I definitely was attracted to the potential for experimentation, and also just like I said, when I first saw, modules, I was really attracted visually. I'm like, I know a lot of artists are like that with modular artists, thinking about like, it's just, to me, they're so sexy visually. And I started, that first NAMM I went to, I was like taking all these close-up pictures. I made a zine of photos of modules and then my notes, learning all the stuff I was learning, and so the aesthetics definitely drew me in. But I love talking about, so I kind of mentioned it before, but like visual learning and auditory learning, so like seeing and listening. And I've definitely had to, I started, learning that like I had to close my eyes to be able to really hear music, because and something about electronic and synth and modular feels more accessible to me too. Like, and like I said, it just feels like there's so much more experimentation there. Yeah. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I love that subject of like how visual and auditory learning and art like play off of each other.
Absolutely. And so let's go switch over to Juan.
Yeah.
That and tell us a bit about your journey into modular synthesizers. How did you get into music?
Yeah, so that it was so also like in the late '90s, early 2000s. I was really just like I said, I was into like the whole rave culture at the time. It was mainly thrown in illegal warehouses. Well, not illegal warehouses, but in warehouses out in LA. And then I was like, all right, I want to be a part of this a lot more. So I started learning how to mix records, and then at the time, one of my uncles he was a DJ, but he used to play at parties, primarily like hip hop and things like that. And then I started getting into house music, started spinning records and playing at parties, things like that. And then eventually I got really into that because I was broke and I wanted to essentially party for free. So I wanted, so I started off like, hey, I'll play at your club, your party. If you give me like 10 drink tickets, they're like, yeah, sure. They might throw like $50 for gas or whatever. But that was like my main motivation. It was lame. And then I started taking it more serious, and I was like, all right, I want to start producing music. And then a lot of the people I was hanging out with, very few of them were making music because it was just so insanely expensive at the time. Synthesizers were pretty pricey. Things you could find at pawn shops weren't usually the greatest things. Every now and then somebody would score like a TV303 for like $100. Now they're going for like 5,000. Things like that. So at a time there was like a kind of like a weird synth exchange. Like somebody would heard they had like this synthesizer, so they would trade them for a week for this while they made like part of their record and things like that. So then I didn't give it up, but I was like, all right, I can't afford this, and I can't live off of this at the moment. So yeah, kind of started focusing more on computers, which made a lot of sense to me, and then kind of staying on the whole engineering side in my profession. That's always been like attractive, kind of like how you said too, electronically, making music with the circuit board. That's always big to me. and I never really learned how to play like any other instrument. The piano I did for a while, but it was just um, like guitar. Anything. I never really had an interest in that. The synthesizer always piqued my interest, and that just made sense to me. Like I could see it. I could make music out of this somehow. Um, so that was pretty much my journey. It started from I like music. I want to make it. I want to party for free, and then I can't make money off of this. And then now, so I never really gave it up. I guess I still have turntables and a ton of records back in Texas. If my brother is watching this, they're at his house. And yeah, so different genres of music all over the place. But yeah, like I said, I'm really glad that Eurorack really taken off because when I'll always also into digital music on the computer because when and I was talking this to Richard earlier. So I couldn't have, I mean, they were so expensive. All the VFTs and DOS came out, I was really excited. So right now, I make all the music I want, much cheaper. But when I got all the emulations, like hardly anything sounded like a Vogue, or it didn't sound like a virus. It didn't sound it didn't sound nothing like that. So I was like, oh, no. And they were their own thing. And then I found myself concentrating more on the development of the program itself and not making music. So that I would spend like 10 hours and I wouldn't make anything. I was like, wow, that was, what am I doing? And then I think somebody told me, he's like, the reason why it's not working, well, for me, and this made sense to me, is that when you're doing that, and I guess because it's just my brain was just functioning differently. It's like you're trying to make music with your eyes, which you can't do that. You're more used to making music with your ears or listening to it. I was like, oh, okay, that I guess that makes sense. So that's why more on the synthesizer Eurorack, it's more tactical. I get more feedback versus on like on the laptop. There's nothing wrong with music on laptops. I know people that make all their music on laptops on DAWs, and it sounds amazing. But for some reason, it just can't click to me. Even though I've written like tens of thousands of lines of code, like professionally, I can't. For some reason, the VST workflow doesn't work for me. But yeah, I guess in a nutshell, that's been my journey. It's primarily just to have a good time.
That's good. It reminded me actually of a brief conversation that Dylan and I brought up online the other day. Was one of the early VSTs in the early 90s was Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
That was a fun tool. You know, it was like all techno, all house style, but it was a good time.
Yeah, it was. I remember that. It was. I think everybody was really into that, and it was awesome because some people did make some amazing music out of it. I couldn't. I was just like, this is fun, but I guess I don't see myself making music out of this.
Definitely, it was really fun. So it's a little after 9 o'clock. We should probably kind of wind down on the show, but I've been really enjoying this conversation with you, Juan and Chantal. This has been a great time. Your sets were wonderful tonight. We've had a great audience participation here tonight. It's been so much fun. Are there any closing notes from either of you? Is there anything you would like to plug? Any releases or streams you would like to mention?
Okay, I just want to say a couple things. I want to say somebody noticed there was a cube on my station, and I just want to say thank you for noticing that. And also, it was my dad that taught me how to solve it. I don't know if he's still watching, but yeah, we have a Cube Life family. And then the other thing is, about my jacket, I just wanted to say, I don't know if Space Racer is still watching. I don't know if everybody knows of her as a musician. She's amazing. And she just got back from 2 weeks on a simulated analog astronaut Mars mission. She just got back, and I can't wait to hear about it. I haven't heard about it yet too much, but so when Space Racer, when you left on your trip, and I've been watching the 2 weeks since you've been gone, I've been watching like all kinds of space shows. And so when I was working on my composition this past week, I was really trying to make like an otherworldly, spacey piece. And so that's why I wore the jacket tonight. And the thing I got to show you about the jacket is, so I sewed the patches on myself, this one. And then there's a secret patch in here that's a shuttle. I don't know if you can see it. So I just needed to say that before we sign off.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I've been like, my piece for tonight, my set, turned out totally different than I originally imagined. But it's been, the process of it has been very much soaked in like space. You know, I watched the SpaceX NASA launch the other day, and I watched Away and a Challenger documentary, and I've just been like, and thinking about Space Racer's trip and just all space vibes. So that's what went into the piece as like the inspirational theme. So just wanted to shout out that. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Juan, is there anything you'd like to mention or plug?
No, I'm not. I am working on a few things, but they're far away from now. But guess I'll just plug you. Keep this up. This is awesome. And also Frank Martin's show on Saturdays. He's awesome. He always puts on a great show. And Frank's everything. He's an incredible person.
Well, very cool. And yeah, I love Frank Martin's show on Saturday mornings on YouTube, which is always fun. I think it starts at 11. He's always a featured artist, which I've gotten to be a part of myself. And there's always a new person coming in, whether it be audio, visual. Frank's always got some really interesting people lined up to talk to. It's really great. And we've also got our vets on here, who has a show he does Soft Sundays on Twitch, which is always really cool to listen in on to. He recently had one of our friends, Baba, on, which was a great set. And there's some other wonderful shows going on, which I don't always remember the names of. But, of course, we've got Resonant Frequencies, which is going to be going on in January. They're on the system. It's only online. And of course, Frank and Fats and maybe some other people put on Resident, which is another monthly show that happens in. We used to be in San Francisco. Now, of course, it's virtual, and they do that on YouTube as well. So check that out. It's always on the second Tuesday of every month, and that's always a really fun show to check out. They always have a nice lineup of about maybe 6 artists doing audio, and they'll have maybe 2 or 3 artists doing visuals at the same time. Maybe Chantal, maybe you want to talk to them, and we can go on doing visuals for Resident. That would be fun.
Yes. I'm like, please, I want to do shows. So yes.
Yeah, I'll send you whatever. I will email you some information so you can get in contact with them, which I'm very happy to do. And yes.
I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who's been hanging out here tonight. It makes my heart so happy, and I love the support of everyone here. So thank you. I'm gonna cry. It's so beautiful.
It is. It's awesome. And I also want to say, thanks for explaining the whole your space inspiration, because it did feel that way when I was watching your
Yes. Okay. Good.
All right. Yeah, we're launching. I get it.
Yes. you. I wasn't sure, you know. Oh, I'm so glad that was conveyed. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I'm minded that. I didn't expect that at all.
Yay.
That was so fun.
So much fun. So
Was that-
nice. Thank you so much, Corey. And thank you to Richard behind the scenes. I know it's so hard to put together live streams and coordinate all these pieces. And there was some stuff at the beginning, but it's like, I'm just so amazed that we can do this. Like, this is incredible. Like, we live in the future, right?
Yes.
Like, I can't believe it. It's awesome.
We do. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So, Chantal, thank you so much for being again. A very humbling experience and way we're all staying in touch with each other. It's been a great time tonight talking with both of you and being able to feature you on it's always a pleasure for me to be able to host and book everybody to play on Pete. It's truly a wonderful thing that we've been able to continue to do. And again, I was a little late getting on the show tonight. Rich had to call me. I was outside. Thanks again, Rich, for calling me. And we're going to come back again next month in December. We've got a wonderful set already lined up for December. We've got 2 artists. Plus, we've got our friend Next Expanse who's going to come on and talk about his modules with his new company that he launched this year, which is really great. His modules are already available. A few friends of ours have already purchased them and are using them in their modules, in their Eurorack sets, which is really cool. So here's some really great stuff coming out real soon from his company as well. And Alice, and thanks again, everyone, for tuning in tonight. And we'll see you again next month for Piqued. And you all stay home and stay safe, please. Good to see you all. May the force be with you.